Section 1.2, Objective 1, Factor number is a product of prime factors. Definition of a prime number. A natural number is prime if its only factors are 1 and itself. And I'm going to add something else right in here. I'm going to write in here that the natural number has to be greater than 1 because 1 is a natural number, but 1 is not prime. Natural numbers that are not prime are called composite. The numbers 0 and 1 are neither prime nor composite, so they don't fall into either one of those categories. Alright, so in this section we're going to work on factoring composite numbers. So why don't we look at this example right here. 3 times 5 equals 15. We call the 3 and the 5 factors. And 15 is the product of those factors. When we multiply factors, we get a product. And when we factor the product, we get the factors. Alright, let's list off some prime numbers right here so you have a few of these. Remember, prime numbers are numbers that you can only get by multiplying 1 times that number itself. So some prime numbers would be, for example, 2, right? Because 2 times 1 is 2, and that's the only way you can get that number. 3, because 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 1 is 5. And we've got 7, and we got 11, and we got 13, and the next prime number would be 17, and so on. Alright, let's go on to this example right here. Example 1, find the prime factorization of 80. I'm going to do a factor tree for this. So to do a factor tree, we're going to come up with two numbers. Any two numbers that multiply to give 80. We don't want the number 1 in there. So I'm going to use 8 times 10. Now we have to ask ourselves whether the numbers we came up with are prime or composite. So let's look at the 8 first. 8, is that prime or composite? That's composite. So we're going to factor it out again, and we're going to get 2 times 4. Now since I factored the 8 out, I like to cross it out because I don't like to accidentally write that into my prime factorization. I like to remind myself that I already factored it out. 2 is prime, right? Because that was in our list up here. 4 is not prime, so we can factor that out some more. 4 is going to be 2 times 2. We factored out the 4, so I'm going to cross it out. 2 is prime, and 2 is prime. Now let's go to the 10. 10 is going to give me 2 times 5. We factored out the 10, so I'm going to cross it out. 2 is prime, and 5 is prime, right? Because we got it up there in our list. Now we write this out as a product of primes. 80 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Or, another way we could write that, 2 to the 4th power times 5. You could write it this way, or you could write it the second way. The second way here is written using an exponent on the 2. That's called exponential notation. If you don't feel comfortable writing it that way, that's fine. You don't have to write it that way. You could write it the way I wrote it on top right there. Okay? And that's how we find a prime factorization of a number. Right.